I've reviewed hundreds of these things, and this is by far the most impressive drone I have ever seen. G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, you probably saw the title, the most beautiful, most impressive, most amazing drone I have ever seen. This one, just straight up, it is a beautiful work of art, and what I'm talking about, it's the new drone from Catalyst Machine Works, who make some of the most premium stuff as it is, and right here, they're back at it again with a drone that just absolutely has me frothing at the bit. So this is going to be a very special video, or actually I should say it's going to be a two-parter, because normally we break it all down into one, we go out and flight, all that sort of stuff. This drone, I think people are going to want to see in detail exactly what makes it so special. And then in the part two, which we normally don't do anymore, that's when we'll be an entire dedicated video to flying this thing around. Because let me tell you, it is not every day that you get a drone this special coming across the bench, and out of the hundreds I have ever, had in my hands, had a look at, this one is definitely at the top of my list on my first impressions anyway, because it is an absolute beauty. So as a bit of an overview of what it is, this is the Banggod from Catalyst Machine Works, and I've got to say, I do love the name. I think it's pretty hilarious, them fighting back there with a bit of tongue-in-cheek humor. Catalyst Machine Works are pretty funny guys. This one, it is kind of the dream freestyle rig. I've got mine rigged up for some HD footage in here, and if I get my other one, it's based very heavily on the Smooth Operator. So here's the Smooth Operator. You can see it's a very, very similar shape to that. It's a little bit bigger. They've refined it, done some things, I guess, to improve this even more. And that's really Catalyst Machine Works' motto. They don't just sit on their laurels. They look at what they've done. They push it. They innovate. They work on their designs. And they come up with something better every single time. And this just seems like another amazing step in the right direction. You can see just how dirty this one is, and because the reason is simple. I've been flying this thing non-stop since I've got it, and I'm actually amazed I haven't broken it. You can see how dirty it is, and I've got so many freestyle videos I film on this, and simple because it just works, it's reliable, and it takes a crash like an absolute madman. So that one, we'll put that to the side. To this one, it just makes me even more excited. So let's stick it on the scales. We'll weigh the thing, because I'm going to say it is coming in at a little bit heavier. And also I should mention, I'm going to put some links down below. The frame itself I think is about 80 bucks, so it's already 20 bucks cheaper than the Smooth Operator. And there's a special bind and fly or something like that that comes. You can buy this exact one, the one I've got in my hands, if you don't need to do any building, anything like that, and it's already rigged up with the DJI system, which I got to say, for me, this thing is probably going to be getting an awful lot of airtime because I am so excited. This is like the Ferrari or the Lamborghini of the drone world. So the price is definitely right up there. I think at the time of this video, it might be like $500 or $550, which, look, is an awful lot. You do have a DJI HD digital system in here, but definitely I understand it's not going to be for everybody. It's just going to be for those high rollers and those people who kind of want the best of the best. So let's stick it on the scales. Let me get my egg cup. All right, well, actually, I have to put it on here without the egg cup, because the egg cup is the thing that sticks it over the 500 gram mark. So you can see with the egg cup, let's tear it off. It's going to be getting to too much, and it's saying overloaded because it can't handle more than 500 grams on these scales. So look at, if I put it on here without that, we're getting 455 grams. And of course, with the egg cup, puts it over too much. So 455 grams right there. I do have my HD mount for my session, but I'm probably going to be taking that off in a little bit. And what it is made for, it's made for those people out there who want the best of the best. They want to fly around with a beautiful quad. I'm sure Catalyst Machine Works always tunes them perfectly. You can take this thing out of the box and do some absolute bando flying, long range flying as well. You can you got enough space to put your full FPV digital system in here, and if you look at the front of this thing, you are going to be able to pretty much knock a tree over. This is like just an industrial tank we've got right here to smash some things down. Don't worry about breaking your frame too much, and it's also got some inbuilt protection, so the things inside here are going to be well protected when it comes to your components and that sort of stuff. So what we should do now, usually I have a look at the components, all that sort of stuff. We look at the components, then we break it down and look at the design. That's not what I want to do in today's video, because we're going to be looking at the components as well as the design, because the way these things all to go together, and when I'm going to be taking the top plate off, it's all going to be speaking about it kind of like a conglomerate, mixing up the components and the design, because trust me, there's some things in here that you need to know. If you want the Ferrari or Lamborghini of drones, this is exactly why you should be paying attention. So I guess starting off at the components, if you get this bind and fly, you're going to be getting some HQ props, 5x4x3s, on here. So they're the ones. Underneath that, we've got some Cannonball 6S motors, and I think maybe that's coming from Gabby, the IndyCar driver, maybe. That might be where his motors come from or something like that. I'll put a link down below to his channel as well, because I think he has a lot to do with Catalyst Machine Works. Moving towards the middle, and this is where we can get on talking about the design just a little bit as well. You can see we have quite a lot of real estate on here. So we're going to be taking this top plate off in a minute, but that's something that I want to point out as well. So if we take this off, one huge difference between this one and the Smooth Operator is a bit of a battery upgrade you can see right here. So traditionally, when I was trying to put my batteries on here, they always hung out the back a little bit. I was worried about my antenna and that sort of stuff snapping off. This bad boy, it's made, look, this one's for a 6S, but if you're like me and you tend to rock a longer battery, you actually have quite a lot of real estate on here now. So when you put your battery on here, it's made for those longer batteries, as well as maybe, look, you're going to be rocking some shorter ones and all that sort of stuff. And the impressive part, it's still with this HD mount on here as well. So if you ended up taking that off, you have so much real estate to be putting on a huge battery, and it's also going to be well protected. Now another part too, before we jump in the middle and have a look and take the top off and have a look at the internals of this Binofly, something I love about this frame is, let me get this Velcro strap out of the way, we'll make it a bit easier, is, and I should probably take the props off too, so then we can really dive in. So bear with me, thanks editing. Alrighty, so that's looking a little bit cleaner, but another thing I really love about this one before we take the top off is you can see just how much space you've got in here. You have quite a lot of clearance, especially compared to something like the Smooth Operator where it was very, very slammed. This bad boy, absolutely, you've got some room, and plenty of room, of course, to put your digital system in the back. One part as well I want to mention, because these standoffs are quite high, you can have your battery up here. There is no worries, you know, you don't really have to worry about your battery getting cut up or anything like that. Because of the height of it, it's going to be well protected out of the way. So if you have a little bit of slippage or something on here, your battery's still going to be protected and it's not going to be getting sliced up by your props. What I do want to do, and that's going to move on, we're going to take the top off and talk about some of the hardware that we used. And apparently when you get this one, there is the option to get aluminium, but this is all designed with strength in mind. So when you get this, it's not going to break. You're going to be flying some bandos. We're using some big 2.5 steel screws here, and they're like the Superman screws or the Superman set or something that I've heard people sort of joke about, because they're, I think, and I could be wrong here, I'll put some pictures on the screen, 170,000 PSI or something like that with these steel screws. So if you bend one of these, please make sure you got it on video, because it is going to be extremely tough, which I absolutely love. This drone knows exactly what it's wanting to be. It wants to be tough, it wants to protect your gear, and that's why they put such good stuff inside. So let's take these off. Right, so I've taken the top plate off, and this is probably the perfect time to mention too, the carbon you're getting here, Catalyst Machine Works, wherever you're getting your carbon from, it is absolutely gorgeous. It is not every day I'd be rubbing carbon on my face, but the stuff you get with this thing, it's just smooth, it's strong, and you don't have to worry about getting any splinters or anything like this. So the carbon cuts that you're getting done, absolutely A+. And now we can see some of the other stars of the show and why you've really, once you take the top off and you have a look under the hood, you can see why this drone is so special. And the first thing I want to mention too is these huge flanged standoffs we've got right here. So these bad boys, if you can probably see, unlike your, let me take one out from underneath, bear with me. So this bad boy, you can see it has a definite huge flange on the top and on the bottom, and that means when you're in an impact, instead of just having a small piece that's in contact with your carbon frame, you're actually going to be spreading that load quite evenly across a larger area, which is the end result means it's going to hold up much nicer in crashes. You should be getting less fractures, less breaks on your carbon, and also too, because it extends across quite a wide area, the arms, you can see the top plate actually spreads out even further. That means there's going to be less torque in an impact as well. So when you kind of land this thing hard, you crash it into some concrete, yes, it might break like all drones, but I'm going to bet this thing 9 times out of 10 is going to be better than any other frame designs on the market, the way it's all come together. And especially when you've got things like the braces they've put in here. So what I love, this thing has a hard mount and also a soft mount when it comes to absorbing the impact. So it's strong, it's rigid. When you look at this brace, you're going to have a front impact. It's going to absolutely slam into something, and you might break this front piece. Maybe it's 5mm thick, but then you've still got your arms behind it. And the idea is it's going to absorb all that impact. And you know, everybody in engineering knows that triangles are like the strongest shapes. So here you're going to be spreading the load quite evenly. But also, if you have a look at this bit, we've got some nice little TPU mounts that come in here. So this bulkhead right here is kind of like a soft mount. It's designed to deviate, have a little bit of flex, so when this drone crashes, you're spreading the load across the thick carbon pieces of the arms, but also the middle part is allowed to move around a little bit. And end result, again, when you crash hard, this thing should be coming up a-okay, as well as protecting your camera. If we talk about some of the other, get the other bits out of the way quickly, we've got an XM Plus, which, look, that's just in there to show you how it can go with the antenna mounts and that sort of stuff. I'm going to be taking that out because in this bind and fly, of course, I'm going to be flying around with the DJI system. Underneath that, look, we've just got our, this is a 6S ESC, PDB, that sort of stuff. Our flight controller on the top, that looks like it's from Pyro Flip, all that sort of stuff. I'll put the exact specs on the screen as well, but you can see we've got our FPV camera towards the front, which is our DJI one because it's that all built-in air unit. This is also where Catalyst Machine Works just takes it a step up. Most companies don't have this. Now this one, it can take, if you have a look at this smooth operator, that was really designed for taking a micro camera. You can see it is much thinner in the front. This one right here, it's designed for taking every single camera possibility that there is in no matter what configuration you want to put in here, and you're still going to have camera protection. And you can see, because you've got these 3 slots just here, most frames, they just have 1 camera hole, maybe 2. You put your camera in, if it fits, if it sticks out the front, bad luck, not with Catalyst Machine Works. On the Banggod, you can actually adjust it up and down and also back and forward. And the end result means you can get your camera sitting perfectly at the front of your craft, so it's not sticking out, but you're also not getting your vision obstructed by the carbon. You can put some little spaces in there if you want to take some micro cams. It can take a full-size cam, and the idea is no matter which way you're going to crash, unless you're hitting like a tree branch sticking out like this thing is going to be absolutely fine. So no matter where it is, you can see I can run my little thing across the front. It's not getting scratched whatsoever. Your camera protection is going to be a-okay. So I really think that that's one thing that Catalyst Machine Works does better than most companies out there. Armaton's another one. When it comes to camera protection, absolutely spot on. Now if we flip it over, we can see some of the other stars of the show. Of course, we've got a big strong underplate. The top section here, the soft, I guess the bulkhead or whatever, the TPU mount, that part is completely independent to the rest of the body. You've got some strong thick braces on the back. You do have the option to buy the frame itself without this back brace as well, but what I really think, if you're into DJI, you want to protect your air unit, because look, they're kind of expensive. This one, it's the best frame on the market that protects your air unit in the way that it does, because there's no way anything can come in, even from the back, an unlucky branch, or crash into some steel or pole. Maybe you're doing some reverse power loops or something a bit crazy like Cricket FPV. This one protects it better than any others I know on the market to date, and that's important. If you're putting in the expensive kit like this one has, you want it to be well protected. You've got a nice little TPU mount out the back right here, and that is one thing that drives me up the wall on my other DJI quad, the antenna placement. It's all zip tied down. It looks like garbage. Catalyst Machine Works has come up with an awesome TPU design that also just slides onto the back to the little standoffs, and yeah, you're pretty much off to the races. They're not going to get pushed into the props, anything like that. So I really can't wait to be taking this thing out and rip it around. And then the final bit of design that I want to talk about, there's a little point on the carbon right here which aligns with the little point in the TPU mount that's used to hold our camera, and you can actually bring that, you can drag it up and down inside there, and that's going to let you adjust between 20 degrees to 35 degrees, so you no longer do need to swap out different mounts and that sort of part. When you're putting in, if you want to add an extra action camera, you can easily adjust what camera you're flying at, match it to your FPV footage, and then Bob's your uncle, you are off to create some gorgeous footage. But for me, I'm going to have a lot of fun just flying around with it. I'm going to be using the DJI system to record it anyway, because I find it works pretty well for what I want to do. Now, the final part I want to talk about in design before we move on, talk about the quality of the thing. These arms can also be staggered. So if you want to put this arm on the top, you can get, I think it's up to 16 mil of difference between the front arm and the bottom arm. You can see that's the case on the smooth operator if we put those back to back right here. See how these back motors on the smooth operator are higher than the front ones? You can do the same on this one. I've got it in the standard configuration, but if you want to flip it around, the result is more clean air getting into the props. But then remember, your props are going to be a little bit higher, and if you have some batteries that are sliding around, they're going to be more likely to get cut. But luckily, of course, this has a 2 Velcro strap solution, so it's meant to be used with 2 Velcro straps just slide around here. So if you're using 2 Velcro straps, you don't really have to worry about it too much. And I love that you got those options. You want to run split level? Go for it. Catalyst Machine Works, it's all about giving you that versatility of a drone that just kind of does everything you want it to do. And then that brings us on talking to the quality of the thing, and I'm going to say 10 out of 10. I love the design, everything they're doing, and Catalyst Machine Works, it's the same when it comes to quality. They make some of the best stuff in the biz. It is refined, it is put out well, it is quality quality tested. They have a proven track record of listening to what people want, supporting their customers, not only when they're buying it, but also after they've bought it, and their components and the things that they do with their craft just last and last. This one, the quality, the build quality is outstanding on the Binoffly I've had. It is still going, and I'm using this thing pretty much every single week for maybe the last year, 18 months. This drone is absolutely fantastic, and I'm expecting none less when it comes to this one. And I'm going to say the quality of the frame, whether you just want to get the frame for the $80 mark, is absolutely beautiful, or if you're going to be going the whole hog and getting the, you know, UAVfutures Binoffly, whatever this one is, everything you've got it and how it's put together, the solder joints, the components, it is, like I said at the title of this video, absolutely gorgeous. But it would also want to be, because if you're going to be getting this Binoffly, 550 bucks, that's an awful lot of money. You are really paying for the Rolls Royce of crafts right here, and you know, it'd want to be for that price. But if you've got the bills, you definitely have one of the best craft on the market. And then that brings us on to the pros and the cons. And there's only one con, and that's regarding the Binoffly. So I'm sure you can tell it's the price. It's an awful lot of money. I understand that. I feel very privileged to be able to fly this thing. Not everybody out there is going to be able to afford this. Maybe not everybody out there can justify spending that much money on it. They might be happier with some cheaper drones out there. And then that's really the only con that I have. Oh, and it is going to be a bit heavier. So don't get this expecting you're going to be doing some races or anything like that. That's absolutely not what this is about. This is about a freestyle drone. It's going to protect your components. It's going to give you a beautiful flight experience, and is also going to last, and that's going to go a long way for a lot of people. If I talk about the frame itself, I think for 80 bucks, definitely you can't complain with the quality of the carbon, all that sort of stuff. I think the frame is very reasonably priced. Talking about some of the other things I love the design that's gone into it. I love the protection at the front on your cameras, the strengthening of the arms with the struts. I love how you've got space in here to put in your DJI system if you wanted to, or maybe you want to have a dual stack, whatever you want to do. You've got plenty of room in this frame. I love the flanged standoffs we've got here. The Superman screws that they're using, which are like meant to be 10 times stronger than some of the other stuff on the market. I love the rubberized or the TPU bulkhead, so you can have that flexi mount in the middle so it can deviate a little bit, again protecting your components. The camera slots, it can take every single camera that is imaginable on the market, and you can move it around to the exact position where it is not going to get a single scratch on it. Flipping it over, you can see I love the TPU mounts they've got at the back for these special antennas. There's just a lot of little touches. Oh, and versatility, like, can you hear that rain outside? Versatility, like having a split level frame, whatever you want to do, this bad boy has you covered. If you want to put your arms up at the back, all that sort of stuff. And also you can put a longer battery on here. The list just keeps going. Things that I like about this frame, there's an awful lot. It's doing it well, and I've got to say to Catalyst Machine Works, hats off. That's why this one got its own special video, because it is not every day. You can tell how excited I am. It's not every day we get a drone like this that comes across the bench, and it is an absolute work of art, and 10 out of 10 in design, quality, customer service, everything for Catalyst Machine Works. I couldn't recommend this product high enough. It is only the Binoffly that I think is fairly expensive, but that's not going to be for everybody. If you want to just build your own with the frame, which is 80 bucks, I think absolutely more than reasonable. But anyway, that's it on the bench. That's enough rambling for me about this beautiful Banggod. Also, what do you think about the name? I think it is absolutely hilarious. Well done to Catalyst Machine Works. Very, very funny, boys. I'll put the links for this down below for not only the frame. Oh, and I should also say it comes in a 5-inch, 6-inch, and even, I believe, maybe a 7-inch for those long-range pilots out there. This thing, the links are going to be down below. I'm sure you're going to like it, whether you get the Binofflies or the other frame, just the basic standard frame. I'd love to know. Comments down below. Subscribe for more FPV related content. Part 2 is going to be coming very, very soon. As soon as this weather clears up, I'm going to be going out, and you're going to be seeing this thing an awful lot on my channel. So I'm going to get the other boys to fly it as well, see what they think, but you'll also be seeing it for a long time to come, because I'm still flying this one to date, and now that I've got a digital one that protects it even more, I think you boys will be seeing that as well, and girls if you're watching as well. But anyway, other than that, subscribe for more FPV related content. Thumbs up to Catalyst Machine Works, and as always, happy flying.